Okay, we're going to start with the songs from yesterday because there's one I didn't play you. So we'll go in reverse order. This first one, I don't know that the first one really is a good way to remember it. Like I think the Hey Diddle Diddle is a good way to remember it. But this one is just something I found, so I thought I'd make you listen to it. Oh.
Hold on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Okay, here we go.
There's me, median, and the mode. Which one's which? Oh, you should know. The mean, add them all, then divide. Median, middle, cross out and find. Mode is the most, and that's the end. Central tendency right there, my friends. There's me, median, and the mode. Which one's which? Oh, you should know. The mean, add them all, then divide. Median, middle, cross out and find. Mode is the most, and that's the end. Central tendency right there, my friend. Outliers are very high or very low. The high ones make the mean real high, and the low ones make the mean real low. There's me, median, and the mode. Which one's which? Oh, now you know.
You're supposed to be watching the fun songs. We're having fun up here. You're missing it. Okay. So it was just a cute one. But let's do the lazy song again with the kids dabbing like you were in 4th grade back in the day.
They are learning median, mode, and range. Now I'm on to get A's. Median, middle, mode is mode. Range is the difference of the high and low. Mean is just another way of averaging. I'm gonna get A's. The first thing you do when you get that number set, you order least the greatest before you forget. It'll make doing your math so easy. To find the mean, the first thing that must be done is you add up all the numbers and calculate the sum and divide it by its quantity. Yes, I'll solve it, I'll solve it, I'll solve it 'cause I can. Today I'm learning median, mode, and range. Now I'm on to get A's. Median, middle, mode is mode. Range is the difference of the high and low. Mean is just another way of averaging. I'm gonna get A's. Really easy to find the median and mode. One's the middle number and the other is the most. There really isn't too much math to do. Unless there's an even amount in the set. Add the middle numbers and then you finally get an answer that will be your median. Subtract the low from the high and you have the range. They are learning median, mode, and range. Now I'm on to get A's. Median, middle, mode is mode. Range is the difference of the high and low. Mean is just another way of averaging. I'm gonna get A's.
I thought that song does a good job of like giving the whole lesson. Like if you really paid attention to that and you didn't know what was going on, it teaches you everything. But Hey Diddle Diddle, this is the one that you should be saying in your head if you get them mixed up. But I want you all singing with it. Do you hear that? How those kids were singing in the background? I want to be able to hear you on this video.
Hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle.
Sing it.
You add and divide for the mean.
If everybody's doing it, everybody's cool.
Mode is the one that you see the most, and the range is the difference.
And do it with the accent. Make it fun.
Hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle. You add and divide for the mean. Mode is the one that you see the most, and the range is the difference between.
All right, everybody singing out.
Hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle.
You add and divide for the mean. Victoria, sing.
Mode is the one that you see the most, and the range is the difference between.
Last one.
Hey diddle diddle, median's the middle. You add and divide for the mean. Mode is the one that you difference between.
Oh, one more. Come on, loud this time.
Meat is the middle. I for the meat. Mode is the one that you see the most, and the range is the difference between.
All right. Are we going to remember those? Yes, I hope so. All right, let's get on to the SAT stuff. Oh, that's not it. Oh, that's not it either. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I don't even have y'all's open. That's why. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, let me figure out where we were in here. Okie dokie. Okay, 723, which is on page 37. You might have more than one page 37, but 723 is what we're looking for. And we're in the 20s, so do we have to at least think a little bit? Yes, right? Doesn't mean it's crazy hard. All right, let me see your lights. Talk to your peeps. Let me see. Oh, well, you've got at least one of each. So, yes, we need to talk about this one for sure. Okay. So, a set of 4 consecutive odd integers. Okay, we did this, guys. Remember? If I have one integer, so that's an odd integer. I can just say x is an odd integer. What do I add to x to get to the next one? Like if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so x is an odd integer. Let's say it's 3. What do I have to add to 3 to get to 5? 2. You got to skip over the even number, right? So if my first one's x, the next one's x plus 2. The next one would be x plus what? 4. And then x plus 6. Those are my 4 consecutive odd numbers. Yes? Okay. So I've defined them. Then, represented, the first integer is represented by x. So it told me that, even though I probably would have already done that. The product means we do what? Multiply. The product of 12 and the 12 and the fourth odd integer, this is the fourth odd integer. So the product of 12 and the fourth odd integer, that's what that looks like, is at most, okay, at most, so it can't be more than, it means it has to be less than or equal to 26 less than the sum. So remember, 26 less means we're subtracting 26, not that we do 26 minus. 26 less than the sum. Sum means we do what? Add the sum of the first and third odd integers. So the sum of those would be x plus 4. All right, so do I have anything that looks like that? Looks like A. And all I did was just write it. Sometimes it's good to look at the answers and try to figure stuff out. Sometimes it's good just to build it as you talk through it and translate it. I know y'all can do this. I know you can. Well, it depends. It depends on what the first one is. If the first one is odd, then when I add 2 to each, then I'm hitting all the odd numbers. If the first one's even, then when I add 2, I'm adding all the even numbers. So honestly, whether this said odd or even, I would have set this up exactly the same way. Because wherever you are, you have to skip over the next one to get, it's the next odd one is 2 down, or the next even one is 2 down. So really, whether it's odd or even, this is going to look the same. And then in the end, if this is a true statement, in the end, this should be an odd number, and then I just find the rest of them. And if that said even, then what they're saying should be a true statement, and then the x would come out to be even. Okay, does that make sense? We good? What else? Everybody good on that one? We know what to do with our even and odd integers here? Okay. All right, 724. Let me see what you got. Blue and white, B and C and A. We're patriotic again. Did all of y'all leave it blank? You have no colors. Okay. All right. So there is a way to kind of use Desmos for this, but sometimes some people are really good at putting stuff in there and playing around with it and figuring stuff out. I don't know that that really is the best way to do it here. I kind of think that maybe just doing this one like by hand is probably the better way so you don't get yourself confused with Desmos. But so it says the table shows three values of x and their corresponding values of y, where s is a constant, okay? There is a linear relationship between x and y. So it's telling me this is for a line, all right? So we need to know how to write the equation of a line. We know that y equals mx plus b is a possibility, but an easier way to write equations of lines is to use the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is not given to you on the test. Now, you could just use, if you can build the equation using y equals mx plus b, that's totally fine. But you need, this is point slope form. I need the slope and I need a point. So let's find the slope. Slope is the change in y over the change in x. It's the rate of change. So y minus y, that's going to be 21 minus 24 over negative s minus a negative 2s. So that gives me negative 3 over s. And my s's and 5s look a lot alike when I'm sloppy, so I'm going to try real hard to make them look different. Okay, and that might be true for your handwriting too, so be careful not to confuse yourself, because I see that sometimes with people. But this is my slope. Everybody okay with that? Then to write the equation of the line, I have three ordered pairs here I can use. I can use any of them that I want. I'm going to choose this third one because there's no negatives there, and a lot of times that makes my life easier. You with me on that? So I'm going to do y minus y1, which is 15, equals the slope times x minus x1, which is s. Okay. Everybody okay with that? Now, in order for me to get it in that form, I'm going to need to distribute that 3 over s. That is not 3/5, that is an s. So I'm going to leave this y minus 15, and then I'm going to distribute that. That's going to give me negative 3 over s times x equals, and when I multiply the negative 3 over s times s over 1, the s's are going to cancel out, not equals. I'm so sorry. Minus. But then negative times negative is positive. Those s's will cancel out, and I just get plus 3. Okay. Everybody with me so far? So now to put it in y equals mx plus b, I'm going to move this 15 because I think most of y'all would go down the y equals mx plus b route. This would be plus 18. Now I know my stuff is mixed around some, and I can deal with that in just a second. But I also need to get s out of the denominator. So to do that, I'm going to multiply every single term by s. So this will give me s times y equals, these s's cancel out, negative 3x plus 18s. So I know I have I have 3x, and if I need to move that over, that'll give me a positive 3x plus 5y. I'm sorry, not 5y, that is an s times y. I can't read my own handwriting. Negative 3x plus s times y equals 18s. And my answer is B. No, yes, B. Sorry, threw myself off there. That's an icky one, but you can't be afraid of the algebra. Oh, the answer for 23 was A. But look, we're in like the last couple questions. Are these going to be a little bit more brain numbing? Yes. And remember this, we're not leaving anything blank. And if you're going to, unless you have narrowed it down, if you're going to guess, always guess the same letter. That's why I say pick your favorite letter. You statistically have a better chance of getting something right if you stick with the same guess, unless you have an idea of what to guess. Okay? All right, now 25. So this is the last of these. And the concept is not necessarily difficult, but it makes sense why it would be at number 25 and not higher up there, except that Desmos can do this for us. All right. So what we have to make sure we're paying attention to is what's going on in Desmos. So when I go over here, okay, here we go. And I want to type in that sine of 24, cosine of 66. We talked about trig the other day. There's two different ways to measure angles. These are clearly in degrees because I got the little degree sign, right? So when I come over here, make sure you have degrees chosen. Even if you chose it for another question, make sure it's chosen again. Okay. Then you're going to type in exactly what you see there. Sine of 24. Type it in. And you just type sine. You don't have to go looking for it anywhere. Sine of 24 times cosine of 66 equals cosine of 24 times sine of 66. Okay. Oh, plus, not equals. No wonder. Oh my gosh. Like, why did it give me anything? I don't even have the right thing there. There we go. I get 1. All that and you get 1. Okay. Even if you got some weird decimal, none of it matters. Okay. So now you're going to type in each one of your answer choices. And if I type in 2 times the cosine of 66, oh my gosh, I'm still typing, not paying attention to what I'm doing. All right, well, either way, if you type them all in, you just type them in until you get 1, and C is the one that gives you 1. Could you have worked it by knowing some trig knowledge? Yes, but it's not worth it. You just got to not, I mean, it's going to take you a minute to type this stuff in, but you can type in C and check it for yourself. Okay, any questions on that one? All right, so now we're in Module 2. So here's what you need to know about Module 2. This is an adaptive test. What you get in Module 2 is based on what you did in Module 1. So you should expect Module 2 to be more difficult because I'm sure you're going to do well in Module 1. All right? That doesn't mean that all the questions are crazy, and the first few still might be kind of on the easier end. So I want 20% of 440. Let me see your lights. What do we get on this one? All right, good job. Which I think, what does of mean in math? Multiply. So I need 20%, 0.2 times 440 is 88. Okay. I'm not even going to bother asking you for your lights on the next few because I think that it's not a problem at all. On 2, it talks about PSI, it talks about kelvins. Do you have to understand what a Kelvin is for this? Not at all. The estimated pressure of the argon and PSI, what is the estimated pressure? I'm looking for the Y value. When I have the X value, it's right there and it's 12. Right. We good on that? If you have a question on it, let me know, and it's fine, but I think we're good. All right, on number 3. Is this one pretty easy to do by hand? Yeah. But listen, as a reminder, if this was a crazier equation, right, then you type this into Desmos exactly like it looks, f of x and everything. And then in the next line, you type f of 10 and it gives you the answer. I think in this case, you just doing it's probably faster than typing all that in. But because that's just 4 times 10 minus 3, so it's 37. But Desmos is there to help you. Okay? Maybe even on the easy ones so you don't do something ridiculous, because we are all capable of that. Now, 4, again, you could type all that into Desmos, but if you're typing every single thing in there, that's going to take your time that you don't want it to take. I know that if I'm going to distribute, I'm supposed to multiply and not add, right? So I need to get 16. It needs to be 2 times 8, not the 14s, so those are out. And then I need an x cubed. If I have an x on the outside, I need an x squared on the inside to get my x cubed, and I didn't necessarily have to do the whole thing. Okay? We okay with that? I'm not going to ask you on your lights on 5 either, but let's talk about this because I'm sure that most all of you got this right. Hopefully all of you. I know you don't like word problems, but you're actually kind of good at them, but you got to not be afraid of them. A veterinarian recommends that each day a certain rabbit should eat 25 calories per pound of the rabbit's weight, plus an additional 11 calories. Which equation represents the situation? C is the total number of calories, and X is the rabbit's weight in pounds. So they got to do 25 calories per pound plus 11 more. That's a D. Okay. I think y'all got those down, I hope. All right, now, you can't give me lights on this one. But was this one crazy hard? No. I can divide both sides by 6. I get n equals 2. I did have one person that was mad at themselves because they left their answer as n equals 2. Does it ask me for n? No. It asks me for n plus 4, and n plus 4, well, I didn't need to write that. 2 plus 4 gives me 6. Take the easy ones, right? Don't overthink them. Now on 7, you could have put this in Desmos, but you didn't need to. I really don't think y'all need to because I think actually, I know you have a good concept and good grasp of this stuff, but then again, sometimes we overthink it. When you factor something to find the zeros, you always have to have it set equal to 0. So me finding this, having these 7s, I can multiply this out, set it equal to 0, then factor and do all that stuff. But look what happens if I just add 7 to both sides. I get D minus 30 times D plus 30 equals 0. And I want a solution to the set, right? So it's either negative 30 or 30. And you can put either one of them. That's it. That's all that is. Okay? The solution is the 0. Don't make it harder on yourself. Okay? We good? Questions? All right. Let me see your lights for 8. Okay, good. We should understand basic stuff about lines, right? I have a slope of 4. We know the slope goes before x, so it can't have that. And then it passes the point 0, 6. That is a y-intercept. Your answer is D. We good? Yay. All right, so now let me see your lights on 9. I'll tell you what I did here. So when I did this question the first time, I read it and then I was like, there are totally 2 right answers. But I know there can't be 2 right answers because it's College Board and they don't make those kind of mistakes that they then leave out there. And so I got it from my chair. I went to go see Miss Tremont for her to tell me why I'm stupid and what I'm missing. And then halfway there, I realized what the problem was. I really didn't read the question very well, which is also something that happens to y'all sometimes. So this set, and we'll talk about it when we get there. A competitive diver dives from a platform into the water. The graph shown gives the height above the water, all right, in meters, and the diver X seconds after diving from the platform. That's the time. Okay, good. What is the best interpretation of the x-intercept of the graph? All right, so it says the diver reaches a maximum height above the water at 1.6 seconds. Is this his maximum height? No, so it's definitely not 8. The diver hits the water at 1.6 seconds. That looks like about 1.6. Would that make sense that that represented him hitting the water? Yeah? So I like B, but we always read all of them. The diver reaches a maximum height above the water at 0.2 seconds. So maximum height would be right about 0.2 seconds. Is C a true statement? It's a true statement, right? Let's read D. The diver hits the water at 0.2 seconds. That would be over here. That wouldn't make any sense. Although this is a true, this is why I thought there was two answers. I was like, those are both right. But what part did I miss? X-intercept. This is my x-intercept, and it's at 1.6 seconds. Okay. What questions we got? All righty. Okie dokie. Let me see your lights for 10. All right. Did all y'all skip this one or what? Okay. All right, so I think maybe most of us got this right, but there's a lot of stuff going on here, right? And a lot of words. And let's learn how to maybe not be so overwhelmed with all the words and stuff that are there. So we've got the kinetic energy in joules of an object with mass of 9 kilograms traveling at a speed of v meters per second is given by this, okay? Which of the following is the best interpretation of K of 34? So this is about understanding how functions work. K of V, and I substituted V with 34. So V represents my meters per second, right? V is the speed. It is the velocity, meters per second. So I know that for whatever else is going on here, that this means that there are 34 meters per second. This says 34 meters per second. This says 340, not my answer. This says 5,202. That says that. So just by looking at that, my answer is A, because nothing else makes sense. And I didn't have to dive into the whole thing and get all lost in it. Okay? We good on that? Questions? All right. Let me see your lights for 11. All right, we're all over the place here. Okay. The scatter plot shows the relationship between the variables x and y. The line of best fit for the data is shown. Okay, so for how many of the 10 data points is the actual y value greater than the predicted by the line? This is the line of best fit. The dots that you see are the actual values. If I want the actual y value to be greater, it's the one that's above it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We okay with that? Questions? All right. Let me see 12. I think I'll see Skittles, a rainbow of colors, and some people with like, yeah, it was blank. Did y'all just not get this far? Because you have like a lot of blanks. Okay, that's fine. I know I put a few extra stuff in there just to, okay. All right, so I see a couple of them. All right. Let's think through this. At a movie theater, there's a total of 350 customers. Each customer is located in either theater A, B, or C. Okay. If one of these customers is selected at random, the probability of selecting a customer who is located in theater A is 0.48. The probability of selecting a customer who's located in theater B is 0.24. How many customers are in C? So not like what's the probability, but how many are in there. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. Let me walk you through the way I did it, which by the way, this stuff that I write down, when I sat down and did this by myself, I wrote that stuff down as I went. That's not something you want to just leave in your head. The probabilities of all three of these have to add up to give me what? 1. So if I take 0.48 and 0.24, I add them, that's going to give me 0.72. which means the probability for C is 0.28. Okay. And so then I can just do 0.28 times 350. Another way you could do it, if you didn't know it was 1 or didn't know what to do with that, you could take the 0.48, multiply it by 350, 0.24, multiply it by 350, get this total number of customers, and then subtract it from 350. That works also, but your answer is D. Okay. What questions do you have? All right, so on the next one, you can't show me lights or anything. But Desmos is going to help us just as a calculator, not by as a graphing thing. All I want is the slope here. Is this in y equals mx plus b form? No, because it's got that extra 5x out there, right? So if I want to put it in y equals mx plus b, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to distribute this 1/3, okay, to those. So this gives me y equals 29/3 x plus 10/3 plus, can't forget about that 5x. Okay. Now I want to combine these two. So if I do this, let me just rewrite it. 29/3x plus 5x plus 10/3. All right, so do you agree? Do you agree that this is the y-intercept? And then if I was to combine these two, the number in front of x would be my slope, right? And that's what I want. I don't have to, graphing this isn't going to do me any good. All I want is what that number would be. And yes, we're capable of doing it by hand, but the calculator will do it for me too. If I do 29/3 plus 5, what is that? 29/3 plus 5. And then you get this, but don't forget that you have this little thing here. You click that, and you get 44/3. And that's your answer, 44/3. Okay, we're good on this? Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think that's right. I think that's, oof. I think, let me see, is this one I can look at? Yes, so this is what they have as their answers. They have, this is a correct answer, and then they have 14.66 and 14.67. So I don't know that, as far as I know, there's not a generic rule for SAT. Like for AP, you got to be correct to 3 decimal places, period. How you know to do 2 here, I don't know. When you're typing it in, do you know if it tells you how many decimal places? We don't know. I don't know. Yeah. So probably whatever you did, you might have. Did you use Desmos? Do you think? Well, you had to if you do that. Then just I think the safer bet is the fraction if you can do it. If not, make sure you pay attention to, because I don't even know how I would find this. I'll try and look, but try and pay attention to the directions if it tells you the decimal places. Plus, so let's just talk here real quick. If I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I doubt they'd make you go farther than that. But if they say to the nearest hundredth, you have to know what it means. Tenth, hundredths, thousandths. Okay. I'm going to start sedating y'all with that table. You have like a calming lavender something in the middle tomorrow. All right. Any other questions on that one? All right. Now, if you got to number 14 and you don't have anything drawn, shame on you. Okay? I know some of you didn't get that part, and that's okay. But if it tells you you have a box, you need to draw a box. So here's my box. You don't have to draw a good 3-dimensional. Some of y'all might be able to, but I'm just putting, I just do that so I have a depth to my box. This says each edge of the box is 29 inches. So 29, 29, 29. So if that's true, then what is this box actually? A cube, right? Because all the sides are the same. And it says each side of the box is the shape of a square. Okay, got that. The box does not have a lid. What is the exterior surface area in square inches of this box without a lid? Well, to find the area of 1 square, I would multiply 29 times 29. What's 29 times 29? 8 what? 8 what? 41. 841, right? Okay, so 841, and that's the area of 1 square. If I have a box with no lid, how many squares is that? 5. So I'm just going to take 5 times 841, and that gives me 4205. And that is your answer. Okay. Your formulas, they give you the formulas for volume. They do not give them to you for surface area, which is probably better. Are there formulas? Yes. Who cares? Most of you probably don't know them, and even if I told them to you, you might not even know what to do with them. Surface area is just literally the area of all the surfaces, and just think about it that way. Just add them all up if you need to, okay? Because it's open. There's no lid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, okay. Anything else? All right. Yes. Let me see your lights for 15. Wake up. And let's see if maybe we change our minds based on yesterday's lesson. Okay. 5 whatevers, a type of sea turtle, each have a nest. Right? The table shows an original data set, the number of eggs that each turtle laid in the nest. A 6th nest, so nest F, with 121 eggs is added to create a new data set. Which of the following correctly compares the means? Mean means what? Average. Mean means average. What's true about this? Now, think about this. Listen. This is group A. Then we add this last one in here to get group B. If I add this 121 to this, when I average it, what is this going to do with the average? It decreases it, right? It's pulling it towards, it's the lowest number, so it's going to pull it towards the lowest number. Remember how the CEOs that would pull the average to the bigger number? The lower one pulls to the lower number. One of those songs said that today. So the mean of the original data set is greater than the mean of the new data set. Now, you could also literally just find the mean. You could add all these up, divide by 5, then add all these up, divide by 6, and compare them. But because we know what we know, we don't necessarily have to, and your answer is A. Okay? Everybody good with that? Questions? You almost made it. Almost. All right, let me see your lights for 16. This will be the last one we do today. Okay, it's Christmas up in here again. All right. So we got triangle RST. RST. R is 63 degrees. Which of the following could be the measure of S in degrees? Right? So what I know, how many degrees are in a triangle? 180. It does. It's sad, but it does. It's right here, so don't mess it up, okay? So I know that angle S plus, and this is not correct, correct way to actually write this, but it's fine. S plus T plus 63 has to equal 180, right? So that means that angle S plus angle T has to equal 117, right? So if those two together have to be 117, can angle S be more than 117? Could angle S be 17? No, it has to be less. That's what makes it 8. Write stuff down. Write stuff down. Okay, we good? Questions? All right, stack them up so I can take them up. We should be able to finish next time.